I hope we do not have any aspirants on online mode from offline mode. Okay, if you are hybrid mode, then it's fine. Otherwise, I'll have a check on this as well. Okay, so yes, yesterday I had a one doubt. Rather, it's not a doubt; it's just an opinion-based question from Ashna. Ashna, so you were asking that why Karl Marx were being referred by anti-Marxist as bloody radical thinker, you know, who wants revolution and all. Was that your question? So what do we know about this term, bloody what is double O or yeah, bloody radical thinker? What do you understand by this term? If I'll just say not thinker but bloody radical, just if you think on this. Morning. Can you just guess on your own? Anyone? It's a nice question to have debate on. Yes, Ashutosh.
Karl Marx is a who wants change in the economic on the basis of economy, and this he was regarded as bloody as per the other those who are not wanted the change in the.
So here we need to address first of all those two key terms together, which is giving you can say an impression for Karl Marx, right? So radical people are those who want changes, that too on immediate basis. Okay, immediate basis. This is what radical means. You can say yes, who wants quick changes, who do not wish to make some sort of alteration or adjustments with existing rules and regulation. They totally reject current scenario. And bloody, because of Karl Marx's views, what had happened? We did have revolution. And when we have revolution, then it is quite, you can say, impossible not to have blood, because in revolution, if there is some sort of wars or if some sort of ongoing fight is taking place, so some sort of blood also, like wars take place. So war without having blood is not something we can think of, right? Even if it is an ideological fight. And anti-Marxists call him bloody radical thinker because he openly said that the changes in this current position, the changes in today's thesis, right? So according to Karl Marx, there are two powers, there are two major interests which we had discussed yesterday. And since it is a basic class, all of you have to understand this point, that this is a basic class, okay? So we cannot have overall discussions on this. So it is just I'm giving you glimpses on Karl Marx's viewpoint. So Karl Marx simply said that we do have two major ideologies in every society. One is thesis. Thesis he referred as dominant, and antithesis are someone who is opposing or who is not in the favor or who is being exploited by this thesis, right? So when there is a conflict between thesis is like, you can say, capitalist, and antithesis, worker, right? Now this thesis is a dominant power And antithesis of workers in that case of, you can say, of working and capitalist modern, or like modern phase, in modern phase, if this workers wants to have certain rights or wants to go on even on strikes, even on union strikes, labor union strikes, do you think that they will know blood, or they will know bloody? It's just not only that, that hardcore wars. It is mean, what do we mean by wars? War means, you can see lot of sufferings and misering to common people. When war goes on, it is just not the people who are fighting on battles with guns. It is their family also. It is the entire economical system also which get disturbed. Entire institutions, or you can say social structures, whether it's religious, political, economical, social, family, it all get disturbed due to wars or any revolutions in that ways. Is it clear? So, Ashna, that is why, anti-Marxists call him anti-Marxist. In fact, because of his radical viewpoints, many sociologists actually argued that Karl Marx is not a sociologist. Because by definition, if we'll see, sociologists are those who try to understand society, social phenomenon, social lives, majorly social problems, as someone, as you can refer as pathologist. What is the role of pathologist? They are not doctor themselves. Yes, but they can recommend some changes. For example, Emile Durkheim himself have called that it is a duty of sociologists to act like social physician, to identify the major problems in society. And you can also recommend some changes, that this can be done, this can be done. You can follow. That is why sociologists and anthropologists are being hired in government sector's job, in government, right? For making and formulating policies. Why? Because they have better understanding of people around them. They do have very crystal clear understanding that if somebody is making an argument, or what they are projecting on their front stage and what is there on their backstage. And if you're a trained sociologist, you even do not let any other people know what is going on in your head. But at the same time, sociologists has to be morally correct. That is what research tells us. So the reason why Karl Marx was being addressed such words like he's not sociologist, or he's bloody radical thinker, he is, he's not even a philosopher, he's a politician. Why? Because he is not only analyzing society from different perspectives, whether it's economical perspective, whether it's evolutionary perspective, he is also telling suggestions. And now in giving suggestions, he has moved little more on that. He himself participated in various rallies and protests. And he actually said that what workers has to do. In his Communist Manifesto, what he is saying? He is saying that worker has to, leave this, you can say, second, that second position in the car, in car seat, and they have to drive. They do not have to sit at the back. So the problem is yours. Solution you have to bring. No God, no one else will come and bring change in your lives. That is what Karl Marx said. And then Karl Marx also said that why even workers are not doing anything for their miseries, for their demeaning situations. He's saying because capitalists put a trap on their lives. They made a very natural situation in which workers do not feel that there is anything wrong. That is why Karl Marx has said that religion is what? It is the opium of the masses. So, Ashna, although you asked me this question a little early, okay, but I just wanted to reflect this answer. But this answer you are going to get in details when we are going to start our syllabus. That is after 15th of June. Okay? But I hope you have got a fine idea, little idea about it. So there are not many things which we are going to read, because Karl Marx, for me, it's just not a philosopher. And I believe that, you people can enjoy this UPSC journey, and especially you can say this sociology, if you can treat this dead philosophers as alive philosophers, and if you can take these philosophers as friends. So often people ask me that, ma'am, you don't have any friends. I do not have life friends, actually, but these philosophers are my friends. You need to learn them, how and what they are talking. For example, Derrida, you are going to read, he talk about deconstruction of text. So if you learn this skill, trust me, you'll be able to write an answers in any of your mains or in an interview. If you do understand what is being asked to you, debunking what is being written and what is not being written even in that line. That is what Derrida is saying. Derrida is saying that whatsoever we get in the form of writing, we need to understand what is not even written there. For example, sometimes we use sarcasm. Okay, so I want to tell you that you're not looking beautiful, but I will use some other language and I will give you the meaning that yes, you are not nice or you're not working hard. So this is a postmodern phase, postmodernist people who are claiming on this. What I want to say here is that when we are reading about these thinkers, the way we have started, we need to go beyond what is being written. And if you learn this skill, then trust me, it will be really hard, or it's going to become difficult for people around you to make you fool. For example, when you see questions in UPSC for GS1 till your optionals or GS4, and especially in essays, you just see the words what is being written, but you are not able to understand how and what is being asked. For example, Ananya, you gave me that essay, Women Empowerment. Why UPSC is even asking if a question has come on women empowerment? That women empowerment, a long road ahead. Was that the topic? Okay, so here you people have to learn that what is being asked, what is being said, and what is actually being articulated in examiner's mind. Is this clear? So if you are reading this word, Ashna, bloody radical thinker, it is not only about blood, or it's not about only radical changes. It is also about that who is claiming him to be so. They are different. In fact, there are millions of perspectives which we have to understand when we analyze any points. Is this clear? Okay, so now let's start. So yesterday we know that Karl Marx have used, you can say, evolutionary perspective. And he said that society moves from one generation to another, right? So why did he use this evolutionary perspective? In order to explain our first topic, that is historical materialism. This is mentioned in your syllabus. And let me clarify myself again and again that it is just a basics on historical materialism. Otherwise, it's a huge concept to understand. You would be getting enough of study materials, okay, for your basic level. You would be getting this PDF. I think that you must have not got this one in your folder. This I have just prepared this for all of you for this particular batch, okay. So I do not want all of you to go through this PPT line by line, as I have said. You need to learn of skimming and skipping art. For example, here we need to understand Karl Marx theory is called historical, or what is historical materialism means. Trace the evolution of human societies from one stage to another. Okay, so why and what you understand by evolution? So we know, as Herbert Spencer defined, that evolution is a gradual change in existing structure. Gradual change he used for living organisms, okay. Herbert Spencer, because he was a biologist also, he said that what is evolution? Evolution is a gradual changes in existing structures or living organisms and all, okay. He used living organisms, I'm using structures like that, okay. So that's mean, for example, just before humans, we do have a species called Neanderthal, right? So we do, in the process of becoming Neanderthal or Rhodesian men, finally Homo sapiens sapiens, we will, even now we become humans, we will have some sort of our ancestral traits. It's a gradual changes. Okay, is this clear? Gradual changes. Now, Karl Marx, what he did, he also followed the tradition of all evolutionists. Okay, because in 18th, 19th century, we were having many scientific discoveries, as I have explained yesterday, that we have come to know that humans have not evolved by God in 6 days, and we do have some rationality and scientific evidences which actually gave us meaningful interpretation of things around us. So that was the scenario in which you can say that science dominated. Is this clear? Science dominated, and then now if we are understanding physical environment around us, we were only relying on facts. And by that we have understood that the changes which we witnesses in any physical phenomenon, that happens gradually. With respect to humans and development of living organism, we had that established fact in 18th, 19th century that okay, there are some changes which is taking place in humans. So we have evolved from primates and then we have become humans like that. Okay, so now this was a basic tradition. Herbert Spencer, even Auguste Comte, Emile Durkheim, all these sociologists were also saying that the society which we have developed, it is evolving and changing gradually. Okay, so Karl Marx also said that yes, society changes, and in the changes, what is his variable? What is the variable? Variable in which we test and do hypothesis or do a research. For Karl Marx, the variable was economical production, economical components. Okay, he says that the fundamental reason of our society which get changes, it's because of economy or economical. aspects. He has defined this economical aspects profoundly by mode of production. What is mode of production? Anshul, you tell me. Yeah, online aspirants, do tell me these points. Ashna, you can switch off your camera. It's fine. I'm just saying mode of production. You people can tell me any answer. Land labor, you say, huh? Where goods are produced. Okay. Where goods are produced? Ashutosh, what do you mean?
Sources that are used to produce the goods.
Good paraphrasing. Goods, huh? So you also mean goods. The way things are produced, okay. Yes, Neha Pal is correct. Necessities of life, mode of production. So when we were hunter and gatherer, didn't we have any mode of production? We did have mode of production. Because Karl Marx have said that we need to understand materialistic conditions, and he says that this materialistic condition has evolved in this process of human development historically. Okay? So he said that when we were primitive, when we were living in a primitive society and we were hunter and gatherers, what was our mode of production? Hunting and gathering. And for Karl Marx, that is the only egalitarian system in entire history of human mankind. Why? Because at that point of time, there was no possessions. Okay? And then gradually, we become pastoralist. And you can say horticulturalist. So when we become pastoralist and horticulturalist, please keep writing, just do not see my face. I've already explained you cornell note making method. I have told you that you need to write the key terms. Otherwise, after 1 hour class, forget about after 1 hour class. In the end, when I'll ask you to write the summary of your class, you will not be able to write. So here I have given a point that what is mode of production? And you all people give me answers that it's a production of goods. Then we do have Karl Marx, who is saying that in primitive society, our mode of production was hunting and gathering, where we are not producing any goods. And then again, another point which I have said, that according to Karl Marx, it is an egalitarian society. You need to provide me this answer, what is egalitarian? How many of you know the meaning of egalitarian? Anshul? Yes. Ashutosh, you stop eating pen. I believe that you live with your parents. Yeah. Yeah, you live somewhere in Noida side somewhere. Where? East Delhi. So I believe that you're not living in hostel or somewhere. So you must be taken care by your mother. Food अच्छा खा के आते होगे. Egalitarian, yes, all are equal. Equality. It's just a trait. You have to work on this, okay? Keep thinking about it that it's a problem. So when you're addressing as that something is a problem and it's just an advice to everyone, that something is bad, and because we are a product of our habits, and habits are being formulated in so many years within our personality. So definitely that's a change. You need to give signals to your brain that something is wrong. If you stop saying and accepting everything around you, which is based on your emotions or habits, then it's difficult to get wiped from them, or to, it's difficult for us to get it removed. But then if you'll keep resisting that something is problematic, trust me, in following years, in some point of time, it will come out of, it will go out of your life. So you have to decide rationally which people, which habits, which traits of yours are good, which is going to bring good in your life, and which should be better to be better, and live without them. I'll keep asking you about this so that you think that something is wrong in that. Okay, so mode of production is also in hunting and gathering phase. Then I have said something about, you should write in your note about horticulturalist and pastoralist. So this is the phase where you can say, first time humans learn something else besides doing hunting and gathering. This is very important point, and it should be reflected in your notes. Because here, first time we have seen humans are doing something else. And what is that? They are growing some sort of food and also breeding animals, growing food and taming animals, making leather for them to tie it up. Okay? So slowly, gradually, we came to Neolithic phase. What is Neolithic phase? It is referred as the age of revolution, the first major revolution, that is agricultural revolution. And we have got these big granaries to store food. Okay? So during this Neolithic phase, and this is what had happened. Now we can have food production. So food can be stored. Then slowly, gradually, what had happened? We reached to Asiatic society. What is Asiatic society? So there are 5 stages which Karl Marx have explained. Again, we are going to read that in detail. It is just you need to understand in a very layman, in a very easy language, so that it should remain in your head. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, no, not at all. It was just position of few animals, right? But it was a time, you can say it was a takeoff stage, where now people have started getting ownership, that these many flocks are my animals and this is my trees and all that. But still it just started. Okay, and then when we reach to another stage, you can say Neolithic stage, now humans have started learning to settle. So now you have settled, and in order to have agricultural production, in order to look out for your food, for your farming land, you need to stay. From there, what had happened? Private ownership started originating. When we were horticulturalist or pastoralist, there at that point of time we did not have sense of ownership. Even in the Neolithic stage, where people have started, learning that okay, this is how we have to settle now. Okay, when we have got the invention of plow, and definitely after wooden plow and iron plow. So when iron got invented, right? I mean, not invented, it was already there. It got discovered, right? So, and then people have started using it for various resources. Agricultural production got, you can say, peak. It goes on its higher level. Okay. So what had happened with iron? Now we have better equipments for farming. Now you can say the notion of state and territory have started coming up. That here you need to correlate with your history understanding. What is the debate on Mahajanapadas in ancient Indian history? You must have read about Mahajanapadas and all that. So then there was a phase which got started where humans have started claiming and fighting over territories. Because with the discovery of iron, humans have not only developed law or for agricultural production, they have also developed arms and weapons, tools. Right? So now gradually things are changing. Then he calls Asiatic state is a state where now we certain class who has some sort of, you can say, smart or ability to lead, they have started controlling agricultural production by controlling what? Property. And who can work on these properties? Slaves. Who are slaves? Human beings, petty, small people, or you can say those people who do not have courage. For me, only those people can be taken as slaves who do not have courage to say no. You're finding funny? Fine. Why so funny? Yeah. Who are slaves who, who just say, no, I cannot fight against this situation. We often become slave of our emotions so many times, right? So this is what you're going to read later on. Emile Durkheim has another perspective on this. Okay, so Emile Durkheim says that we do not have any control on our emotions. Emotion is being instilled in us by society itself. Okay, so too much of individualism. In fact, he also quoted that it's wrong. But later on, we'll discuss. So right now, what had happened? Let's come back to Karl Marx's that phase, evolutionary phase. Now, people have started making territories. Okay? Territories, ownership of private property. Who is going to work for us to make a lot of food and services? It's people. So earlier in earlier time, who were the most wealthiest people? Who had lot many slaves. The number of slaves you have, that's when the number of labor, the increased labor you can have. Are you understanding? It's all about labor. Trust me, if you can read Karl Marx sometime, I have seen people and specifically in JNU that how these people, and specifically one group, how their ideas get changed because they all are reading about Karl Marx, Marxism, they try to read, all those originals with different interpretation. I was a little smart. I always wanted to remain, I was among those groups who really wanted to remain into academics and all. But then it's always very interesting to have different viewpoints. So I've made some friends and only one friend who'd been referred as someone as Newton of GNU because he had to have all understanding. And I made his friend, and I used to see what these people used to read about this ISA people. So Marxism has a huge impact on people when you read their work. You people do not have to go there. You people are just preparing for UPSC. We have only one goal, that we'll clear this exam with good marks in sociology. But when you read about Marxism, so Marxism is actually, telling that what is the problem and how it is being sorted out. That's why it becomes radical, because when you read such, powerful debates, so people start thinking and, they become rebel in a manner. Is it clear? So he was saying that the more labor you have, the better control you can have in the means of production. Situation is not yet changed. The form got changed. Even in microchip industry today in contemporary society, those companies who can have maximum and efficient labor, they are ruling. Is this clear? The nature of occupation or the nature of investment of labor's energy has got changed. Earlier, it was intensive physical work by slaves. So at that point of time, which particular race worked and become slaves very first time in the history of world or in the history of humans? Which particular region in the world, which particular race were being taken as slaves? Africans. It's a very common word, common knowledge we have. You know, even before industrialization got started, what these Europeans did, they made particular tribes of Africans as their slaves. Why they chose only slaves as Africans? Because of their physical strength. Are you all understand? Are you all with me on this, or am I going too deeper? You just have to understand this point. I'm going to explain everything from basics too. It just you need to understand what is beneficial for all of you to write in answers. So earlier it was physical based. So we got what we had? Slaves. Then slowly, gradually, what had happened? People got evolved. People are evolving, right? आपको इस तरीके से समझना है. See, ये term आप पहले जब आप घर जाओगे, अभी मैं ये PPT नहीं, I have not given this PPT to anyone, right? I will be sending it today. What you have to understand, take your notes, what I'm teaching, revise them in your head, make yourself a story. Before reading what I'm giving to you as a content, it is already there. You can see, you know, you go in the market, you search Karl Marx, you will have a lot of material on historical materialism. But you have paid here for my insights, right? So you need to understand what historical materialism is. So what you will do is, what I have explained, and then just read this point, right? And then material economical basis. And definitely when you are writing your answer, it is always advisable to write about the book name. When you write the book name, that Karl Marx in this book is saying this, what you are doing, you are writing one of the C's. One of the C's of answer writing, that is correct information. Okay, and this you can use in your introduction skills. You can start your answer in introduction. In the contribution of the critic of political economy, Karl Marx is saying something like that. Okay? And all this point, for Marx, economic structure of society is made with its relation of production. Okay? The legal and political structure of society is based on relation of production. This is all I'm going to explain, but in my own words. So it's futile for all of you if you are going to write in this manner. Okay? So entire historical materialism, I'm explaining, okay, like this. So what you will say, now, let's just see evolutionary stage. When we were primitive, so the mode of production was hunting and gathering, right? Then we become some sort of Asiatic society. Now the mode of production is of course agriculture, but the labor was the relationship between two classes, slaves and master. So here also, what does it matter? Slaves, labor. That is why when I was yesterday discussing about Google controversy or about female controversy, which females, those three females have said that there is a gender disparity in the most efficient company of the world, that is Google. So females are not being paid equally and all that discussion, right? And the minority discussion, it is basically coming out of labor relationship. So now maybe in contemporary society, the form is not that physical world. It is what? Whosoever is, like, you know, whatsoever the demand of mode of production, right? So earlier it was slave based. So the number of healthy, potential, physically strong slaves you have, that's when higher production of agriculture you can have. Write down these points on your own. You need to write all these points which I am saying quickly. Have written? Good. You people have written, Ashutosh and online aspirants? Okay. Now after this stage, what had happened? as we know that we are evolving, humans are evolving, brain, is evolving. We are trying to understand what is happening. And the previous structure will not work now. For example, hunting and gathering society now cannot work in Asiatic society. In Asiatic society, slave and master relationship will going to, you can say, will have some implications. Because now slaves, why they are going to take a lot of operations or exploitation from masters? We all have our saturation points, isn't it? Individually also, as a group also. So by the next stage when we reached, right, we have developed some other society, that is feudal society, feudal and serfs. So now we have made some sort of political arrangements where we are giving rights or ownership to feudals. Now we have created a false ideology actually. How to rule anyone or how to make anyone like fool? Make ideology and make that person to accept it. This is what casteism also is doing with us. I mean, I should not say this, but this is majorly is being done. And this happens and operates from very, in our day-to-day lives. For example, if I become a mother, right, my responsibility is to take care of my child because I have given a birth, right? And I need to see that she or my daughter or my son, whosoever, or any child is safe. But in order to control, right, to have social control, I'll make some rules and regulations and I'll ask my daughter or my son to accept it. Some ideology I'll create. So what is that ideology which we start is that I am a mother, and because that children is dependent on their parents, we started accepting them as their authority. And slowly and gradually it goes on. So we have created this mother-like, this image of mothers, that they are the God. तो आप भगवान हैं और अब आपके खुद की कोई लाइफ ही नहीं है. It's easy to control. We are going to have discussion on all this, on feminism. Okay? Or you create your husband as God. And how this religion textbook says, for example, in Islam, in Quran, it is being said that agar sajda hota to aapke shohar ko hota, otherwise kisi ko nahi hota. Like that. But then we have to, as a learned people, we have to see why it is being said. That is what Derrida is saying. Definitely, we need to have rules and regulation to have social control because we have evolved from animals. If we will not have this social institution, we are going to live a very straight life. But then let's come back to Karl Marx. Karl Marx is basically targeting on ideologies. So here at this time, we have created some sort of rules and regulation that you are serfs and you are working on my land. That is why I'm giving you some sort of grains and all that. And you are obliged to work on me because you have not paid my debt. Because if I am a serf, if I am a peasant, I'm working on someone else's land. Who gave you that authority to call it as your land, first of all? So together humans have created such rules and regulation. Right? So we have created these maps. We have created these 7 continents of the world. So we have these boundaries and all. Why? So that we can have some sort of ownership, which is, of course, good also. That is what we are going to read in politics and society. That, I mean, right now, what is my identity? Larger identity. I'm a female and I'm a citizen of India. I'm getting certain rights and regulation. So I am giving consent to that rules and regulation. So why even the serfs have started accepting that, or very low wages, because it has been created as an ideology. Is this clear? And very systematically it works. Then the next stage, which Karl Marx is referring to, it is capitalist stage. What had happened in the 18th and 19th century? With the discovery of steam engines or with the discovery of better communications, and Spinny Jennings and all. Now we have got another mode of production. And now what this capitalist had done, what had been done to India, what is Dadabhai Naoroji is saying in his very famous work, The Drain of Wealth Theory. Guys, if people are targeting 24 now, tell me.
इंग्लैंड को ट्रांसफर हो रहा है ताकि वहां के लोग अच्छे से लाइफ को स्पेंड कर सके या फिर मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन बना सके.
वेरी गुड. और कैसे हो रहा है? गुड इंप्रूवमेंट. व्हाट्स योर नेम? तुम्हें डांट पिटी थी ना पहले शुरुआत में? प्यार से समझाती थी, ठीक है, लेकिन अब तुम समझ रही हो. सी, डांट में भी टीचर का प्यार ही होता है, ठीक है. गुड. दिस इज एक्चुअली अ वेरी वेल phrased answer. Or it is not, I will tell you one more thing. I'm feeling really happy with your answer. In UPSC, they don't want English speaking people, right? उनको अगर फिर अंग्रेजी चाहिए होती तो वो शायद ब्रिटिश काउंसिल वगैरह के या अंग्रेज के जो अंग्रेजी बोल रहे होते उनको ही सिलेक्ट करते. यूपीएससी में एक कॉन्फिडेंस होना चाहिए कि आप अपनी बात कहें, चाहे वो आप हिंदी में कहें, राइट, लेकिन वो सही कहें. तो कॉन्फिडेंस अंग्रेजी से नहीं आना चाहिए. कॉन्फिडेंस आपको अपनी विल पावर से आना चाहिए कि मैंने कुछ पढ़ा है वो सही है, उसको मैं हिंदी में भी बोल सकती हूँ, इंग्लिश में भी बोल सकती हूँ. डेफिनेटली अगर आपने मीडियम चूज करा है कि आपको इंग्लिश में लिखना है तो आपको वर्क हार्ड करना पड़ेगा. मतलब अगर आप सेंटेंसेस लिख रहे हैं उसमें मुझे मीनिंग नहीं समझ में आ रहा तो आपको मार्क्स क्या मिलेंगे. लेकिन मेंस में आई वुड से जरूरी नहीं है कि आप बहुत ही फ्लुएंट इंग्लिश बोले, लेकिन आप जो बोले वो कॉन्फिडेंटली बोले, राइट. सो गुड इंप्रूवमेंट. क्लैपिंग फॉर हर. हाँ, सो ये आपको पॉइंट समझना चाहिए. So what is drain wealth theory? It simply was saying that India's raw material were being taken, right? And then what this Europeans had done, they have made it in finest goods and then they have forced us to buy. Because हमारी जो handicraft industries थी, हमारी जो small scale industries थी, वो ruin कर दी गई, right? And this was not the only scenario in the Indian context. It was happening all around the globe. Okay. So now in capitalists and workers were left with no other option but to work in factories and by the rules and regulation formulated by capitalists itself. Are you understanding, Ashnil? My younger brother was in KMC. You look like my younger brother only. He was very good looking just like you, but he was very smart and very lazy. So all KMC people has these traits, I can say. So they pretend that they are understanding everything, but they're too lazy to write. Getting what I'm saying? Yeah. So you're pretending that you're understanding, but not writing. So now what had happened here in capitalism system? I am left with no other option. So how to rule, basically, this is what you can learn in by Karl Marx theory. If you want this philosopher's understanding, which should help in your life. What you can do that? How you can do that? Yes, false consciousness. This is a term which Karl Marx have used. Please focus on this word. I am saying ideologies because as I have said that it's a basic classes. False consciousness. So this world is operating on false consciousness. I love you. No, it's false. Nobody loves anyone. Okay? If you're saying, you have to be that, that level of abstract mind. I mean, then you need to play words on that. If you say that you want to clear this UPSC examination, understand that why you want this UPSC exam. You need to rationalize in your mind. I believe we all have to work. And if we have to work, why not as a bureaucrat? Why not have to have leverages in our life? Why not to compete in some very difficult examination where we are growing? Whereas Karl Marx is concerned, he's also talking about consciousness, false consciousness. Right? He says that workers takes this consciousness in their mind that they cannot survive if they are not work in factories. And why it has been created? It is very systematically, it's been created. So what happened? Slowly and gradually, people start enjoying and they start accepting that area or that ideology. Okay? For example, we all prepare for, let's just say, UPSC, and this has been created in our mind, or any other examination, that if you really want to go ahead in your life and you want to achieve something good, what you have to do, you need to crack some exams like UPSC and all that. It has been created. Maybe in order for me to enjoy my life, maybe this examination is not that criteria, but it seems to me by society itself. Or maybe I do not have any other option. All right. This is major debate of Karl Marx. And then he is talking about that we have to come out of this false consciousness. And nowadays, what is happening in today's time, in contemporary society, what is happening? Now we are not having that notions, or you can say we are not having that system in which anyone can force us to work. For example, it seems to me, right, or it seems to us that if not UPSC, something else. What? If I'm not teaching, then what I'll be doing? Earning money for survival is, yes, very much possible in today's time. But is it that fair system outside the world? For example, as a faculty, as a teacher, if I want to work in universities or in colleges, is it really easy for me to get job? No, it's not. That's why we have such debates or such protest. Every day I hear this DUA, like Delhi University Teacher Association ad hoc protest and all this. So I thought that being gold medalist or having PhD degrees, I mean, it's possible. If you have that, I would say, potential, you'll get the job. It's not that difficult, but that maybe it's not that easy for everyone. It's a mixture of too many points, too many things. So nowadays, if we talk about market scenario in economical conditions, what is happening? How this big MNCs is making us to work? By creating and giving us false consciousness. For example, we all see that every time in this European dominated industry nowadays, some Asians are ruling. For example, Google CEO, and you have many, then we have this, Natya, what's the name? There's some other CEO of Indian origin. Satya, yeah. And some other, right? You can say in British also, we have Indian origin Prime Minister and all. So I was just reading a paper, right? So it was being said that what is it happening that now suddenly in European countries or in European continents, the best companies have Asian people or Indian or Asian origin people. Why? It's again a labor gain, according to that paper, because they want to hire people on the basis of emotions. Now, if being Indian, I am seeing CEO of my company is Indian, whether you want or whether we like it or not, we have certain, aspiration, or we think that, he's being Indian. And then what is being happening, because now we know that Indian and you can say this Silicon Valleys, or you can say this people, Indians or Asians, particularly South Indians, they are hardworking, intellectual people. All right, they can produce best out of their potential. Give them highest post and have lot of revenues for your company, or as Karl Marx says, profit. We do not know about Google CEO's condition. Might be he must be overburdened with lot many targets, but he's enjoying, media attention and all that. So this is again a perspective which we have to just see with respect to false consciousness. So now in today's time, you cannot force labor to work for 18 hours. You have some sort of rules and regulation. Labor unions and ministries are there who are working. But how you can say best companies, efficient employee, director, CEO, this, that, and all that, right? This is what we actually happen. But do we have any choice? When you are going to become a bureaucrat, you would be hired by Indian government. You need to work with your seniors, right? So then we also have to understand ethics. Now here ethics comes. And your own desire. That is why lot many IS toppers, they leave their job and do something else. Clarity has to be there in our head. What do we want in our life? For example, Marxism is saying a very wonderful things. But then my aspiration might be different. I cannot simply, of course, reject his viewpoint, but I cannot make it too big on my head. What I have learned personally from Karl Marx, that what we can do is we can understand the systems around us, and in the end, what matters is economy. In the end, what matters is your economical financial conditions, and life is a race. This is what Imal Durkheim has told me, that life is a race, and if you're an efficient employee, or if you're an efficient, hardworking UPSC aspirant, your result will not going to be taken away, right? Your potential does matter, your smartness does matter. Survival of the fittest is the story of our life, given to us by Herbert Spencer, influenced, or you can say by Charles Darwin, right? So this is all we need to learn about it. So now when you go back, do read all these points on foundation of historical materialism, what they are saying. We have already talked about alienation. What is mode of production? This is primitive communism, ancient mode of production, which I have just explained you, feudalism, capitalism, and then what Karl Marx had predicted, he predicted of communism. Okay? When you are going to read all this point, you will find it's very bookish, because it has been taken from some original books. If you are going to write, first of all, you will not be able to write this many words. You need to understand what I have just taught you. And read it, give multiple readings, right? You need to read this PPT one or twice and try to write in your own words. Trust me, the more difficult it would be for you, the better it is. Whensoever in your life situation become difficult, take it as blessings. When you have more enemies, take them as blessings. All these books which you are seeing, all this content, when you will read, you will find it that, oh no, what to say, what is surplus, how to say surfs and all, how to make in our own language. You're feeling uncomfortable? Good. So the moment we feel uncomfortable in any situation, that is a place, the turning point of change. You're feeling emotional? Fine. Cry it out louder. But when after that phase, when you're going to complete this, PPTs, And when you will see that, okay, you have achieved something, and I would say achievement when you have written in your own words. So if your English is not good, or if your articulation is not good, maybe you will take 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, kahan jayega? But then the understanding you will have at this stage where we have not yet started our syllabus, it will be too great and too challenging. Like, no one can, I think that not easily one can challenge that. Okay. So this is capitalism, alienation, we have already discussed, right? Do read all this point. Class struggle, that the two class, how they are struggling. We are going to read all these points again, right? So as I have said, that you people have to read all this PPT once again. On Monday we'll have discussion. That is why I'm giving my handouts, my notes prior to the classes. And already for these 3 days we had discussed Karl Marx, so that now you people have enough understanding, the basic understanding. Now for these 3 days you'll study and sit with this PPT, make your own points, and on Monday we will have one more discussion on Karl Marx on the basis of this PPT and your understanding. Okay? So this is class struggle. Okay? That's it. This is it for your basic understanding for Karl Marx. Is there anyone who has any doubt? No? Please now focus on this. Make your own notes, have lot many doubts. Then we can have one more class on Karl Marx, and then we'll start with Emile Durkheim. Okay, Ashutosh, समझ में आ रहा है? Okay, bye guys. All right, online aspirants, take care. Bye-bye. You're welcome. Bye-bye. You're welcome, guys.